All righty, folks, we are going to talk with somebody who manages a platform that has over 28,000 rental units on it. We're going to ask, hey, what has been the impacts from the hurricanes? But more importantly, we are going to ask about what are 13 things you could have your tenants do up front to protect from the impact of a hurricane for themselves, the property, their belongings, and all of those things. Of course, we're going to talk with the CEO of Himlane, Dana Dunford. How you doing, Dana?
Great. Thanks for having me back on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing the research. We talked about this last week. I was curious, did your team see a dramatic increase in call volume from the hurricane? I'm just going to guess they did, but you've done some research. What are the numbers?
Yeah, I have. So with the hurricane and specifically that region, so the region of the US, we saw 183% increase in new requests. Now, I
Wow.
will tell you right now is slow season for us because high season in requests typically are is right before the summer and right before the winter when you're getting
Hmm.
HVACs ready, et cetera. And
Right.
so from that perspective, our team was able to very easily be able to handle that. But really what it was how prepared was the owner and how prepared was the tenant?
Hmm.
And the ones where it became a lot more for both anxiety of the owner as well as our team were the ones that didn't have insurance.
Yeah,
And
this is important. And let's be clear, it's flood insurance, right? They had fire, they had liability, but they didn't
yep,
have flood
they
insurance.
did not have flood insurance. And that's where no matter where you are, you should be checking in detail right now with your rental properties what insurance you have. I mean, Michael, you probably remember this even in California when there were mudslides and
Yeah.
that was also flooding directly into the house and into the homes. And so no matter where you are, you need to understand what are the natural disasters that could happen in my area and think broad.
Yeah.
And then from there, say, okay, what risks am I taking? With fires, with earthquakes, because I think for a lot of these owner operators, it was a big, big bill for them to pay or that they're in the process of paying right now.
Well, let's talk about that because again, you have a property, it gets flooded, 2 feet of water, whatever it is. You don't have flood insurance. Um, so you're on the hook for quite a bit of things, right? First and foremost, you probably got to house that tenant
Yes.
somewhere.
Yep.
Hopefully the tenant had renter's insurance, so that'll protect their goods. But then you've got to go in and you've got to replace probably upwards of 4 to 6 feet of the drywall. You've got to run. It's a nasty job. And I mean, as an owner, I've suffered water damage and a fire damage, and people don't get this. Water damage is worse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It goes everywhere, and that's a gigantic bill. I got to imagine some of these people are looking at 20, 30, $35,000 flood damage bills. Got to be crazy.
Yeah, when you're talking about tearing up floors because of mold, I mean, you can have water remediation companies that come out there.
Oh,
A water remediation company is so expensive. They
oh
start at
yeah,
$500 and they're so expensive to do what they do. And there's still that risk of mold is already starting to form no matter how many fans and stuff like that that you have going. And so yeah, I would say, and then the other thing is with the tenant, you're right, it's going to be so challenging to find them a property. These
yeah.
insurance companies have like what I consider concierge that will step in and say, we need to house this person. And they will go and negotiate and find the tenant a place. And it completely takes you out of the emotion of that
Yeah.
if you have the right insurance. And so that's why it's so important to make sure that you know what that risk is that you have. Because if you're having to go out there and try to negotiate and find the tenant a place, and the tenant says that's not nice enough,
Mhm.
I actually prefer this place instead. You know, if it's an insurance company, it's like, nope, it's a third party. The insurance company is going to be going through and
Yeah.
providing you a place, and it reduces that anxiety and just the stress that you don't want when you're looking for more passive income.
I totally agree. Well, let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's try to help people in the future. You have come up with a list of 13 things that you, the
Yeah.
landlord, you, the owner, could communicate with the tenant to help the tenant, help the property, and really reduce stress. So, what is the list of
Yeah.
13 things?
And our repair coordination team came up with this. I can't take credit for it.
Look
I
at you.
can't take
What a good CEO. Give the
Yeah,
team
I
credit.
can't take credit for their hard work. So obviously with different natural disasters, there will be different things that you do, but I actually think you can take this list and apply it to quite a few natural disasters. So the first is fill your bathtub with water. Why do you
Mm.
think that you do that?
Well, you got a source of clean water. Clean water is not going to be available for a lot of folks. Also, to help you flush your toilets as
Exactly.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one is unplugging all of your appliances. There
Oh, of
can be
course.
power
Yeah.
surges during storms. It can fry your electronics. So when you think that the worst of the storm is coming, go ahead and unplug from there.
Agreed.
I would also say charge all of your electronics and have that
Mhm.
backup battery for
Yep.
your phone. I mean, it's not just your phone. I would go ahead and even with your computer and everything else, get as much charged as possible up to 100%.
Agreed.
Great. Okay, number 4 is just put up in like a higher place any electronics or valuables that you have because of flooding. If
Mhm.
you have computers near the ground, if you have any sort of valuables there, they're more likely to get damaged with the flooding. So make sure to elevate those. Um, the next one, it also has to do with water supply, but freeze water bottles. You can even
Oh,
get
good idea.
plastic
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
get plastic water bottles, but in case of a power outage, that can also help keep your food
Food
cold.
cool. Yep. That's a
And
good
so
one.
you can put it in there and then also use the water supply too. So it kind of fits a 2 for 1.
I like that.
Next one is on weather stripping and doors and windows. So obviously, weather stripping is really important to have so that water can't get in, garage, any sort of entryway. But what you can do is also place towels at the base of doors and windows,
Mhm.
and that will help absorb that water so it doesn't seep in. It doesn't cause any
Yeah.
organic.
Once water finds an opening, it seems to all go there. So that's a good one. Yeah.
Exactly. Secure your outdoor items. So
Mm.
all of your outdoor furniture, plants, etc., they'll
Absolutely.
just go up in the wind. So just nothing outside, as much as possible. Get everything indoors in your garage, etc. Um, the next one is check your gutter and drains.
Oh, yeah.
So this will help ensure proper water flow. Now, here is one thing I will say in working with tenants. You do not want a tenant on a ladder
No,
checking those gutters.
no. Bad,
And
bad.
so, and just make sure from a liability perspective, you're thinking about all of that and how you bring this up to the tenants. There are some things you can do by just like stepping back from the house and checking the gutters and saying, hey, have leaves, we're in October, have any leaves fallen into the
Mm.
gutters, et cetera, or into, yeah, the gutters, et cetera. The next one is just photograph any belongings that you have, anything that's a high cost item,
Mm.
especially if there's an insurance claim, they'll want to have that.
I like it.
Um, and then if you do think that you are going to have the power go out, set your fridge and freezer to the coolest setting possible. Also have coolers ready. Have coolers ready to put everything in. You can put those water bottles that are ice in there. Um, and then this is a one that I don't think people think about too often, but is important. Park your car in the safest spot possible.
Oh, yes.
And so you're going to move it from trees. You're going to move it from power lines. Consider putting it in a higher ground spot to avoid flooding. So, like if your driveway goes down, you might want to have it on the street higher above
Yeah.
in case you need to do something there. And then the second to last one is waterproof any important documents.
Yep.
So leases, insurance papers, IDs, you can just take a Ziploc,
Yep.
put them in there and make sure that there's no water damage for those. And then the final one is have an emergency kit. So it's a
Mm.
great present if anyone's looking for Christmas presents for people, have some sort of emergency kit on hand. So that's the list of 13 items
I've
that you.
got one more.
Okay, I want to hear it. I missed one.
No, yeah. So I actually I was thinking about this the other day, like what could we do? And I got this from a chef at a
Okay.
restaurant. He said, take an ordinary cup of water, plastic water, freeze it, and then put a quarter on top of the frozen water and put it in your freezer. And then what will happen if the power goes out, that quarter will shrink. And if it goes down, quite a bit and then
Yeah.
refreezes, it's actually a pretty good sign that the food is bad.
Oh, interesting. I have
Right.
never heard that before. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if the quarter, again, right, if the quarter falls down, it means the water is melting, the temperature in the freezer has gone down. So the food has gone bad. But then if it refreezes, you could be misled that that was still cold. So the
That it
quarter
was
will show you.
Yeah, I like that one too. I
Not
like
mine. I stole it from a chef.
You also stole your
Yeah,
answers.
absolutely. I am not smart enough to think of that. So there's lots of things that you could do. But again, it's about being prepared, communicating with your tenants. The thing about hurricanes, generally, you see them coming, so you can get ahead of them. I love this list. Dana, if somebody wanted to reach out to Hemlane, see what's going on, get on the free platform, which the little birdie told me might have 100,000 folks on it already, but we'll leave that there. Where do we send them?
Yeah, you can go to Hemlane, HEMLANE.com and mention one rental at a time because you get 20% off your first year on any of our paid packages, which is the highest discount that we give.
There you go, Dana. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank the team in Hemlane for putting this together. It was a great list.
I will. Thanks so much for having me.